Just because you're gluten-free doesn't mean you have to miss out on a classic Halloween cookie. Hey everyone, it's Kaylee with Gluten-Free Runner, and today I made a gluten-free version of those Pillsbury pumpkin cookies I've been seeing everywhere. Here are the ingredients I'm using. Pause here and take a screenshot so you can follow along as well. The full recipe's in the description. Now let's get baking. This is a little more work than the pre-made cookie dough, but the taste and satisfaction is totally worth it. My gluten-eating brother even told me how close these taste to the real deal. Start by putting 2½ cups of gluten-free 1-to-1 flour in a bowl. I'm using the Bob's Red Mill one, but you can use whatever you want. Then add in your baking powder and a little pinch of salt. Make sure you mix it well so that everything's all well combined. Now we're going to get another slightly bigger bowl. Here we're going to add 1/2 cup of softened butter, not melted, just basically room temperature, and then 1½ cups of granulated sugar. I'm going to mix that with a handheld mixer to make sure that it's all nice and about that consistency right there, and then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You can add in however much vanilla you want. Measure it with your heart. Then add in 1 egg, the whole thing, yolk and white. Mix that up as well. Once that's all nice and well combined, you're going to slowly add the wet and dry ingredients together. I like to do this by adding about half of the dry mix to the wet mix, mix it all together, and then add in the other half, and mix that until it's all combined. Oh my gosh, how many times can I say mix in a minute? Mix, 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 mix. Okay, now you're going to put about 3/4 cup or a big handful of dough in a separate bowl because we're going to dye that orange for our pumpkin. So here's my orange food coloring. Use as much or as little as you like to get the preferred color that you want for your pumpkins. Mix it with your hands. If you don't want to stain your hands, use some gloves, but I don't mind getting a little dirty. I had to go back in and add some more just to get my desired color of orange. Then I'm going to take a little bit of dough to make it green for the stem. You don't need a lot here at all. Just about a spoonful-ish will do. Again, add as much or as little green food coloring as you want. Just get it to your preferred color. I wanted mine to be a little bit more vibrant, and there we go. Now the dough is going to be a little sticky, but that's okay because we're going to put it in the fridge. So now you're just going to take all your dough and wrap them up in plastic wrap and then flatten them into discs so that we can put them in the fridge. Here are my discs of dough, so cute. Don't mind my messy fridge, you guys. Just going to stick them in the fridge for about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, it's 3 hours later, and here they are out of the fridge. I just got some parchment paper so I wouldn't get my counter all messy, and I'm going to unwrap the white dough. Now I'm just going to roll out that white dough. I like to wrap my rolling pin in plastic wrap so that it doesn't stick as much, but you do you, boo. Roll that thing out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now, while you do these next steps, your rolled out piece of white dough is going to sit in the fridge. So now I'm just going to take my orange dough and I'm going to roll it into a log. I literally only use my hands for this. I just fold it up and kind of play with it like Play-Doh until it's rolled into a log. It doesn't have to be a specific size or anything here, just kind of measure it with your eyes. Now I'm going to roll my green dough into a much skinnier log, about the same length though. Just kind of play with it until you get it nice and long and skinny. It's actually quite fun to play with the dough. If it starts getting too soft, you can just pop it back in the fridge or the freezer for a few minutes, but it's not too much of a problem. Next, I'm going to take a straw and just make a little indent on top of my orange log. This is so that the green stem will have somewhere nice to sit, and it'll all flow nicely in the cookie. See the little indent? That's the perfect size for my green little log. Next, it's okay if the green log breaks. Just set it in the indent that you just made. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just set it in there and kind of play with it, move it around until you get your desired look. Ta-da, look at that pumpkin. Next, you're going to just roll that up. I just did it in the parchment paper, and you're going to set that in the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so it's 10 minutes later. I got my white dough out, and I got my orange log out. It's a little bit harder, but it is still soft and malleable, so don't be afraid if your dough is still a little soft and sticky. Carefully take your little pumpkin log off of the parchment paper and set it right smack dab in the middle of your white rolled out cookie dough. Now you're going to roll the white cookie dough around your pumpkin log. Don't be worried if it falls apart. Just do what you can. If you need to set it in the fridge or the freezer for a little bit, that's fine. But just kind of play with it until you get it nice and around the dough. Make sure that you squeeze it tightly. Just use your hands. Play with it like it's Play-Doh. You know? Have some fun with it. Get it nice and tight and rolled up. And then you'll notice that the ends are a little long. Just take those off and do whatever you want with them. I ended up making some more cookies with them. Do what you want with them. Wrap that up in plastic wrap and set it in the freezer for however long it takes for your oven to heat up. So preheat your oven to 375, and once that thing beeps, get your roll out of the freezer. Now I'm going to line a pan with parchment paper. This is important so that the cookies don't stick. Alright, the oven is preheated and it's time to slice the dough. My dough was frozen, so it's a little bit harder and it'll be easier to cut and slice properly now. So you're just going to slice the dough. Now you will notice that when I'm slicing it like this, it squishes the dough down a little bit. So you can use your hands to kind of squish it back up, mold it around into a more of a square or a circle shape. But look how good the pumpkins turned out. It looks just like the Pillsbury ones. See, just because you're gluten-free, you don't have to miss out on the good stuff. These taste so good too. Okay, so now you're just going to set your cookies on your parchment paper lined pan about 2 inches apart. They don't spread very much, so you don't have to worry about that. I cannot get over how cute these little pumpkins are. If these cookies are good and are a hit, maybe I'll make the Christmas version too. You can see here with some of the cookies that I don't really like the shape as much, I'm just pinching them to make them into squares. Help form the shape a little bit to your liking. Luckily, these are really malleable and easy to shape, and they hold together really well, which is good in a gluten-free treat because a lot of the time they don't hold together too well, so I'm really impressed by this recipe. Here they are. Look how cute. Now I'm going to pop those in the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes. Okay, it's 10 minutes later, and look at that. I got 2 pans out of this recipe, too. They're so cute. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to dig into these. Now you're just going to let them cool on the counter for about 10 minutes. Keep them on their pan while they cool so that they can finish baking so they don't fall apart. Okay, here they are. Look at that. It looks so similar to the Pillsbury one. They're so moist. Look at that. It falls right apart in your hand. Here's the taste test. You guys, these taste so good. This really hit the spot. I love these cookies. I'm going to store mine in this cute little Halloween container. You can store yours on the counter in an airtight container for about 3 to 4 days, or you can even freeze the extras. But don't worry, they'll be gone by then anyway. And there you have it, homemade gluten-free Pillsbury pumpkin sugar cookies. Just like the real deal. They're perfect for Halloween. They're delicious, festive, and totally safe for those of us with gluten sensitivities and celiac disease. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more gluten-free goodness. Happy Halloween!